All right, everyone. Ah, you all have been asking me to do more podcasts, and I have obliged. Today, I have with me a very special guest. I have Miss Rachel Jones. She's going to come on here and she's going to tell you all. She's going to give you a little history of herself. She's going to tell you all while we're having this conversation here. So, Miss Rachel Jones, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So first, I want to say good evening. Thank you so much, Joseph, for having me tonight. It's a pleasure to have this opportunity to chat with you, and we'll chat again and talk a little bit more about myself to your network. So my name is Rachel Jones. For the past 8 years, I have served as the Southern Maryland and Prince George's County liaison for two United States senators, first for Barbara Mikulski and currently for U.S. Senator Ben Cardin. So it's been my job to be engaged in the community, to understand the issues that are important to people, to make sure that folks know that they're being heard on the federal level, to take all that information back to the senator. But it's also been important to just know that, to know what issues are going on in the community on the local level and the state level that affect Prince Georgians. And even though we don't always have any type of federal bearing on those issues, it's still important to know what's going on and to be able to share with the senator what's happening in this part of the state. And this job has given me a lot of great opportunities. And one of them is that it connected me with an organization called Farming for Hunger. So about 7 years ago, I had the opportunity to go with the senator to Charles County to a 300 plus acre farm and met the CEO there, Bernie Fowler Jr., who had started a program that would help grow food that gets donated to the Maryland capital area, to the Maryland Food Bank, and to the DC capital area food bank. But he was having, difficulty figuring out how do we grow this much produce and get it out to people all across the state without a lot of help. And they were using volunteers. But then, he asked, the Maryland Department of Corrections if there would be an opportunity for folks that are in the pre-release program to have an opportunity to come to the farm and to help. And so they agreed. But one of the things that's transformational, excuse me, about this program is that once the guys arrive, they take off whatever they arrived in. They wear a Farming for Hunger t-shirt or whatever they want, and jeans and sweatpants, and they just blend in with everyone else. And folks
Right.
who are not familiar with the farm come in, and they come in ready to volunteer to help plant or harvest or box up some produce. And it's not until the guys, start talking to them, or until people became really aware of the program, that they realized they were working side by side to box up food for the needy with folks who were still incarcerated. And so it created a wonderful opportunity for both the community and the guys. Because, and I say guys because currently we have not yet been able to bring women to the farm, but it's created a unique opportunity where, one, it has given the men who are preparing to re-enter into society, it's given them a opportunity to transition in a way that is positive and healthy. It allows them time to emotionally and mentally readjust to society. But the program also tries we also try to give them opportunities to make sure that when they are released, they can find quality jobs. And so we've partnered with workforce development agencies in the Southern Maryland Tri-County area, and also with Prince George's. And that's how I had an opportunity to meet Joseph. Walter Simmons from Employ Prince George's connected us. And so we met with Walter around this time last year, the CEO and myself, to talk about the fact that a lot of our guys are from Prince George's County. And when they get released, they want to know that they have somewhere that they can go back to, where they can find gainful employment, so that they don't have to maybe fall back into some of the habits that they had before they got incarcerated. And so we're working very hard to try to make sure that we are finding them quality jobs, and that we're partnering with the right folks who can help us to get them good jobs. And also we ask, what are you interested in doing? Because we don't want folks to just work and and hate their jobs. Nobody wants that. So we
Right.
actually are interested in finding out, what kind of jobs they're interested in holding, and then seeing if we can help make that happen. And so it's been a great program. So I'm currently vice president of the board of directors and have been for the last 3 years. And so we've tried very hard to um, get into Prince George's County and make sure that we are creating opportunities for our guys.
Great. So I'm looking at your resume. Very impressive. Like very impressive. Starting back in June 2005 with the internship. Um, what was that? What was Prince George County District Court internship? What was that like?
Yeah, so it was a really nice experience. I was fresh out of high school. It was right before I went to Morgan State University. Go Bears. And I had an opportunity to work as an intern. And so my job was to work in the judges' chambers. And so for the district court, I vacillated between or moved back and forth between the various judges' chambers and served as an intern to the administrative assistants there. So I got to see the cases that came up after the judge had a hearing in the courtroom, whatever that judge's decision was. It was mostly administrative. So you're administering data into the computer and things like that. But it did give me an opportunity to sit in on a few of the court cases and hear some of the stories and see some of the experiences of things that people were experiencing. It gave me sort of a more of an insider view into some of the things that happen in our legal system. And so at the time, I wanted to be an attorney. I, majored in political science and didn't necessarily envision at that time that I'd be working for legislators, but it gave me an inside track into the judiciary system.
Okay. Um, moving up a little bit to legislative aid for President Pro Tem Senator Nathaniel J. McFadden. I had the honor to speak in support of a bill, a lifers bill,
Oh,
where Senator McFadden came and
okay.
spoke in support of. So I know working for him, I know it had to be a great experience for you. I know you got a wealth of information and experience from working with Pro Tem Senator Nathaniel McFadden. What was that like? What was your
Yeah.
experience like there? What did you take from that?
So we call him Mac, and Mac was an old school Baltimore City teacher who got into politics back in like the 70s. And so by the time I worked for him, he was the number 2 senator in the Maryland General Assembly. So President Pro Tem is pretty much just like your second in command to the president of the Senate. And so he, at that time, was the most powerful Black man in the Maryland Senate. And it was great working for him because he really is, even though he's no longer the senator, he's a man of the people. And
Right,
so folks came in and he just sat down with everybody like, this is my homie. He sat down with everyone and he would tell you stories about when he first met that person and how far back they went. And he just made everyone feel like he was going to do whatever he could to help them. And oftentimes, when folks reach out to their legislator or lobbyists are coming in or a person's coming in saying, here's a bill on a specific issue. And at that time, this was around 2008, one of the major bills was abolishing the death penalty in Maryland. And so we had a gentleman come in who had written a book about how he had been sentenced to death, and then later found out that, later he was acquitted and he'd been released. And so he was making it his mission to make sure that nobody else goes through this. He wanted the death penalty off the books in Maryland. And so having the opportunity to work for Mac let me know that I wanted to work for legislators. I didn't at the time envision being one, but that I got that internship my senior year at college at Morgan State, and knew right away that I liked helping people.
right.
And that's really what that job gave me the opportunity opportunity to do. And Mac's way about how he did that, he kept it real with people. So if there was something he could not accomplish, he would let you know what the odds were, or if he thought it was realistic or not, or if he thought he could get it done. But he always let I'm going to do my best. Everybody is baby or son, or everybody is someone affectionate to him, but he let you know he was going to do his best. And so I learned from working for him, you do your best to take care of the people. You take care of your community.
Great. Um, I'm seeing here from July the 13th to December the 16th, you worked with Senator Barbara Mikulski.
Yes.
So you just have a line of experience with working with legislators. What was you doing with Barbara Mikulski, Senator Barbara Mikulski?
Yes. So Senator Mikulski, or we called her by her initials. So BAM was a powerful, feisty, short little woman. She packs it all into about a 4'2", 4'1" stature, and she's the first woman to be elected to the U.S. Senate in her own right, like period, nationwide. It means she didn't get the seat because her daddy passed away and was the senator before. Her husband didn't die, and she got the seat because of name recognition. She was the first woman who ran on her own a Senate campaign and won back in I want to say 80, 85 or 86. And so working for her, I learned it was a different perspective because she's tough, very tough. And from her, I learned that sometimes things are a little harder for women. We know things are way tougher in many situations or instances for Black women. But the perspective that I learned from her was for women, sometimes it is tough breaking through some of these molds, breaking into some of these rooms. And I was a very, very shy person before I started working for her. And one of the things you have to do in this position is you walk into a room and you are representing a United States senator. And you walk in the room and you have to command the same sort of attention and presence that they would. And so my typical style of coming into a meeting and sitting in the back and being quiet and just taking some notes, I learned very, very quickly that that was not going to fly. That if you were going to be in a room where you were often the only woman, only minority, you have to command people's attention. So I started to walk in with a little bit more authority. I walked in like I knew exactly who I was and who I was representing, and I'm here with a message. I'm here to contribute, and so take me seriously. And so I learned that. But one of the great things about her is that when you first start, everyone gets a little green card when you first come on staff with her, and it says BAM's principles. And there's a whole list of things that she wanted each and every one of her staff to embody. And one of my favorite things from that list is we guarantee an effort, but not an outcome. So it means we will always try to fight for you. We don't know if we're going to get you the result you want or not, but you will always know that we tried. And so that's one of my favorite things from that list. And then the other thing was, another one was, no smoke. We're going to try to go around the smokestack approaches. We know that a lot of, government comes with a lot of bureaucracy. And so we do try to cut through that and just keep it real with people. You want to be realistic, and she really drove that home with those points. So it's right in front of you. You can't forget it. It's on your desk every day, and we want to do our best for people. But we're not gods or kings, and we can't, necessarily control the outcome. But always, always make sure that people know they're being heard.
Right. And so that brings us to your current position. And what is that?
So currently, when Senator Mikulski retired at the end of 2016, Senator Cardin offered me the opportunity to keep doing the same job for him. And so I simply switched offices, but continued my role as a Southern Maryland field representative and Prince George's field representative. So that just means being out and about in the community. Most of my job is not done sitting behind a desk. Most of the work is to be out in the community. Anything that the senator would get invited to that he can't attend, it's my job to do my best to be there. So across 4 counties, It's a lot of driving, but it means that I'm constantly engaging with people, hearing people's stories, talking to them, listening to them, and taking those issues and concerns back to the senator. And where we can make a difference on the federal level, I make suggestions and recommendations. Here's what the community would like us to do. Here's what I'm suggesting we do. Here's how I think we can go about it. And then you run those things up the chain. You consult the senator and see what we can do about it.
Okay, that's great. I wanted to um, put your level of experience to the forefront, as that is what I want this conversation to focus on. Your level of experience, um, how you've already how you have always been fighting for the people and representing the people. So that's why I wanted to take my time and go through your resume the way that I did. So that brings us to our conversation today.
Okay.
Um, Hopefully we will have the pleasure of having you as our one of our legislators coming up pretty soon. I think next week, right? Is
Yes,
when.
next week.
So can you tell the people what is it that you are I don't want to say fighting for, but what is it that you're looking to achieve in the next week or so?
Sure. So um, I live in District 27B, and the senator for District 27 was Senator Mike Miller, who was the longest serving Senate president in the nation, who resigned the day before Christmas Eve and then passed away last week, I believe, or the week before. That left a vacancy in the Senate. So my Delegate Michael Jackson, who's a great guy, was received the appointment to that Senate seat, leaving his delegate seat vacant. And so currently, I am seeking the appointment to that delegate vacancy for District 27B, which covers part of Prince George's County and part of Calvert County just to the south. And so I know that there are lots of folks interested in this seat, but I believe that I would be the best replacement for Delegate Jackson for this vacancy. So thank you for going through my resume a little bit like you did, but it's not even just that this is my resume and this is what I've done for a living. This hasn't just been a job for me. It's I love what I do because it connects you to people. And again, going back to that first job with Mac, that's when I realized I can help people. I can help people and I can make a difference in people's lives. And certainly, there will always be some ills to society. There will always be something that no one can fix, or it will take, multiple people coming together to make a difference. But I want to do my part to be able to make a difference in the areas that I'm passionate about and the ways that I believe I can. And so believe with the breadth of experience that I'm bringing to the table with all of my professional background and my private personal passion for social justice and looking out for the underserved and those that are sometimes forgotten. Those are characteristics and passions that I would love to be able to take to the Maryland legislature.
Okay, can you so just so the people are clear that this position, this seat, this legislative seat covers parts of Prince George's County and it covers parts of Anne Arundel, right?
Calvert.
Calvert County. Okay.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so the people are aware that once a seat becomes vacant, what's the process on filling that seat?
So the process is, because this district does straddle two counties, the process is that the Democratic Central Committees for both Prince George's and Calvert County will each hold a hearing with all of the candidates that are interested in the seat. The hearing for Prince George's County is next Tuesday, February 2nd, and the hearing for Calvert County's Central Committee is next Thursday on the 4th. And so each committee gives you about 2 minutes to make your case and to say why you are interested in this position and why you feel like you'd be best for it. You're allowed to have, a couple of people testify for you. But ultimately, those committees will make the decision on who gets appointed to this seat. And after they hold their hearings, each committee can send a name to Governor Hogan, and the governor will decide which person to appoint to that committee. Ideally, both committees want to send the same name. And so my goal, it would certainly be to have both committees select me and see the value in what I bring to the table.
Okay. Let's talk challenges to being selected to that to have your name submitted to the governor. What is your main challenge
Mhm.
with having that?
I think one of my main challenges, I won't say I think, one of my main challenges is that, Delegate Jackson is a Prince Georgian. I have not lived in Prince George's for about 10 years now. I lived there after college, and then I moved back to Calvert County because this is where my roots are. This is where my heritage is. I live on land that belonged to my great great grandfather. So this is where my family roots are. I moved back here to be near family to raise my children. And so I think that there's a concern that this seat should go to a Prince Georgian. I do live on the Calvert side of the district. But nonetheless, my commitment to the people of Prince George's has never wavered. I've been a Prince Georgian. I'm still proud of that, but I'm also proud of my heritage and where I live now. But I do live in a county that is red, and that means for the folks in my community who look like me, who might feel like me, are extremely underrepresented. If I were to get this appointment, I would be the first Black woman from this county to ever serve in the Maryland legislature, which would be huge. And I feel like it's not just that I'm a woman, it's not just that I'm a Black woman, but it's that I'm qualified, that I know both counties very well, that I have showed up and participated and been actively engaged in the issues and areas of concern to both counties. And I feel like I'm best prepared to continue addressing and meeting the needs of those folks. It's just this would give me the opportunity to speak with my own voice. Right now, I'm an ambassador. I speak the words that are approved by my principal, that are approved by the senator, and my messages and my framing, all of that is shaped around what does the senator say and what does the senator believe. And so the opportunity to be able to look out for my community, to continue fighting for folks in both counties and making sure that they're getting what they need, and understanding the unique dynamics of the differences in the districts and how to balance that out. I would leverage my relationships with all the folks in the community that I've been working with, and the legislators that I've quite frankly been working with over the past 8 years. So for nearly a decade, it's been my job to know the legislators well, have good relationships with them, get their feedback on federal issues, and take that back to the senator. Try to make sure that we're getting federal funding for the communities, and so now I'd have an opportunity to secure state funding and pass legislation for both communities. But the one of the largest challenges is the desire. Prince George's wants someone who's still one of their own. And even though, I haven't lived there for a few years, my heart is still with the people and for the people.
And see, for me, I think that it's not necessarily for me where a person resides, where their physical residence is. I need to know where their heart resides. And when I spoke with you and we had a lengthy conversation, I felt your spirit and I felt where your heart resides. So I came on board to support you because whether you live in Calvert County or Prince George's County, as long as you can make decisions that would benefit Prince Georgians, I think that's where we should be focused at. Not to mention the level of experience that you already have congressionally and locally, right? I think that we really need someone in that seat that knows how to deal with their colleagues, like pretty much is already in. So for me, and I want people that's paying attention to understand, I don't want us to focus on the fact that she lives in Calvert County. I think I don't want to say nothing to rub nobody the wrong way, but I think we get caught up into where a person live and and we just wanna and we gotta have someone for Prince George's County. For me, it's just not that. I need someone that I believe is going to fight for Prince Georgians, and of course, you're going to fight for Calvert County as you're supposed to. So that's where it's at with me. NAACP, you did some work with NAACP, right?
I do. I'm currently the parliamentarian for Calvert's NAACP branch of the NAACP. So while I've worked with the Prince George's NAACP and former president there, Bob Ross, for many years, I'm currently the parliamentarian for our chapter here in Calvert. And so I keep order, I keep the rules, I keep folks in line and on track when we're at our meetings and things like that, but I'm actively engaged in making sure that we are pursuing what's best for the Black community.
Great. Um, Anything else you want to let us know in terms of your involvement with the Prince George's community?
Yeah. So I want to highlight, I want to go back to Farming for Hunger just a little bit because one of the things that we were, really happy to be able to do before the pandemic was in the fall of 2019, we built raised garden beds, and the new owners of Iverson Mall were really pleased to hear about our program and wanted to be able to partner with us. We're really trying to find other ways to partner with folks in Prince George's, and I know you and I discussed that, and I'm excited about our opportunities to partner
Mhm.
in the future. But we were really excited to start our Grow Iverson project behind Iverson Mall, and so we built raised garden beds. We started planting. Folks from the community can come in. They can help harvest. They can help plant and help. With any of the volunteering that comes with, tending to the raised garden beds. But it's a community garden. Um, one of our um, one of our returning citizens who's been released. His name is T-Ball. He's from DC, but certainly cares about the Prince George's community, and did a lot of, in his former life, he was active in that area
Mhm.
and wanted to find a way to give back to the community. And so even though he's working a good full-time job, one of the things that he does when we're not in a pandemic is he dedicates a certain amount of hours to going to Iverson to manage that garden and to help make sure that um, you know we keep it, a little bit orderly there so that people know what times they can come. And he's designated as a former gang member. It was very important to him that he said, this is a safe space. People in the community need to know that this is a safe space, that when people come here, there are no beefs. It's just we're coming together. We're gonna plant together, grow together, bag up some lettuce and take it home, to our families. And this is a piece. There's peace here and in this spot. And so it's just been very important for us to make sure too, because we're working on the farm. We're working with hundreds of acres, and we know that that doesn't exist everywhere. Now in 27B in my district, the Prince George's side of that district is Brandywine, parts of Upper Marlboro, parts of Clinton. And so there are a lot of rural areas there. We do have opportunities to expand and branch into those rural parts where there is land that we can take advantage of and try to replicate our garden. But in places in Prince George's where the farmland doesn't exist, we want to replicate this raised garden bed model so that we're making sure communities can get fed, and we can grow produce locally, and folks can come and pick up and work together the same way they do on the farm. And so we still want those opportunities to be there for our returning citizens to share a little bit of their stories with folks in the community who come in, encouraging the youth to make good decisions, because that's a huge part of it too. And so that's one of the things I'm incredibly passionate about. And um, I've, as VP of the board, I've had tremendous opportunities to help our CEO shape the direction and vision of the organization and where we want to go. And so, we've met with the county executive about um, finding more opportunities for returning citizens. And these are things that we hope to continue to be able to do. And so I'd like, with, certainly this appointment would present the opportunity to be able to do more on the legislative side to ensure that we have safe places for our communities, but also that we are providing um, quality opportunities for employment and for workforce development for our returning citizens.
And I'm not going to hold you all night. You and I, we spoke at length at some of the challenges and barriers for returning citizens once we are released. Um, things like driving for Uber. We have people that have been home for 20, 25 years that have not reoffended, and they're still barred from getting certain jobs, certain positions. And as I spoke to you, and I truly believe that you would advocate to make the necessary changes for us to be treated equal. I mean,
Yes.
once we do our time, we serve our debt to society, we serve our debt to the community. All we want to do is make an honest living,
Yes.
you know.
Yes.
Um, so the program that you have for those who are coming in late, what would you say the percentage of Prince Georgians participates in you all's program?
I would say about 50% of the men who come through our program are from Prince George's. Um, I would say maybe 25 to 30% from Baltimore, and then the other 15 to 20% are from Charles County or St. Mary's County, from Southern Maryland. But a good 50% are from Prince George's or DC.
Great.
Yeah.
So how can we help you?
I would certainly love your support. I know that there's a committee that makes the decision on who gets this appointment. But I would certainly love for folks in the community who know me or who have had the opportunity, like today, to get to know me. Again, this would not just be a job for me. It's not about my ego. It's not about a title. It's about the opportunity to get more work done. To bring solid ideas to the table that I believe will truly make a difference in people's lives. You mentioned some of the policy ideas that you and I talked about, and I have loved ones who have had these experiences. So I'm not just speaking, sort of sideways. Like, as a matter of fact, I wrote to people. I wrote to a person for a good majority of my life who was incarcerated and waited for his release. And I've seen the struggles and challenges that he's faced with employment post release, as someone who served his country in the Vietnam War, you know, and ended up incarcerated with a 25 to life sentence in the 80s, and he paid his dues to society. He's certainly remorseful for his offense, but knowing that he's a completely different person now than he was back then, and seeing the challenges that he's faced, and just trying to get employment that will feed his family, and allow him to have some sort of dignity as a man. And so it's that, and it's also recognizing the challenges that the guys in the program at Farming for Hunger have faced, and knowing that we have to find a better way. We cannot say that we want recidivism rates to be low, but then we continue to treat returning citizens like second-class citizens. And so it's important to me that we do things in that avenue. And I've certainly got other ideas for other issues in other areas, but I think that this is one of the things that I'm very passionate about. And so I would just like folks who believe in my potential to make a difference, and believe in my strong desire to truly make a difference. If you would just share your support in the community, and hopefully some of these committee members who do get a vote will recognize that and hear that I have support from the community, and perhaps that will make a difference in the decision that they make on who to appoint.
Okay. So for those who are coming in a little later, what we need to do, we need to contact our Democratic Central Committee members and share our support for Miss Rachel Jones to be appointed to the legislative seat for District 27B that covers Prince George's County and Calvert County. But it's very important that we make the phone calls to show our support. When I finish this live, I will be, I don't have all of their phone numbers. I'm sure I can get all of their phone numbers for all the districts so that we can post it and individuals can make phone calls and support. I think that's very important, and we need to let our central committee members hear that.
I would
Is it
appreciate that.
is it anything else? Did I leave out anything? Anything you want to say? Anything you want to bring out?
I just want to say thank you again for the opportunity. Thank you for your support. I'm so glad that we made the connection. And again, I'm excited for our follow up conversations on how our organizations can partner because there's so much work to be done. So, regardless of whether or not I get this appointment, I want to make sure that we collaborate so that we can continue to make a difference. We can feed people, we can build a community, and we can ensure that folks are getting treated with the respect and dignity that they deserve. And so I'm excited about that opportunity. And again, just thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for your support. Thank you in advance for anything you and your listeners do to support this appointment.
We're so thankful as well to have you come on. You know, especially we just hurry up and made it happen. So we're especially thankful
Yes.
for that. We're going to push, make some phone calls for you, and this is definitely not the last time that you and I will be speaking.
Yes.
So thank you for coming on.
Thank you so, so very much. And we will be in touch.
All right. Have a good night, okay?
You too. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.